train, for its type, is the most powerful vehicle on land. And the engines of Sodor are the power behind the docks, industries and branch lines that make up the world-renowned Northwestern Railway. These are the stories of Sodor.
Alright engines, listen up. I have something very important to tell you all. And make sure you do listen, because I am not going to repeat myself. As you know, a couple of weeks back, Mr. Zorro and I had a meeting with the railway board. Many of you have asked me since why I haven't talked about it. It's because we were prohibited from doing so until today. Why is that, sir? As you are no doubt aware, the situation in Europe has been rather grim for some time, and Germany's recent occupation of Czechoslovakia has only made matters worse. You may also recall how last year the Fat Controller conducted an inspection, that it was part of his overall examination of Britain's railways. He wanted to make sure they were prepared in the event of war.
Is it really that likely to happen, sir?
I don't know, Gordon. But both the Railway Board and the Ministry of Defence want to make sure the nation is not caught off guard. Even as we speak, goods trains loaded with munitions and weapons are bustling throughout the countryside. And one of those trains is headed here. The Nor'easters will handle that one, as they've been instructed to outfit the west and northwestern side of the island. We are to handle the southern and eastern side of Sodor. Will our equipment be arriving on the same train, sir? No. That shipment will be for the Nor'easters. A second one will arrive tomorrow, being pulled by Peter, whom you will be happy to know is finally out of crew. If the second shipment is arriving tomorrow, sir, does that mean the first is coming today? Yes, it does, Thomas. The engine has been instructed to bring her train straight here. It's been given priority, so all other trains have been shunted.
That probably means James and Edward are stuck at Barrow right now.
I feel sorry for Edward.
This is disgusting! Will you stop complaining, James? How can you be so calm about this, Edward? We were shunted without any explanation. How do they expect us to run an efficient railway if we're to suffer these kinds of setbacks? It's likely an unavoidable change in the schedule.
Last minute, clearly.
So last minute that neither Whiff or the station master know anything about it?
Neither did know. So there's your answer.
Whatever it is, I wish it weren't on a day where I was so busy. After this train, I've got to take some cattle to Elsbridge Harbour and then do 3 coal runs. 3! And I'm hoping Thomas doesn't drop by the mine before Kate can shunt my trucks.
Why's that?
Edward, are you really that naive?
No, James, I'm not.
Then you know how much of a distraction he is to her. And vice versa.
But the work still gets done. Kate is a professional after all, as is Thomas.
That didn't keep either of them out of Railgate, did it? If incarceration together doesn't make their courtship official, nothing will.
I think a relationship is built on a lot more than mere proximity to one another, old chap.
And I think they're a meaningless diversion.
You really believe that?
All right, maybe not all of them. Mr. Starr is always that much happier when his wife visits the station. Other than that, I think they're more trouble than they're worth. So you've never been in a relationship? Ever? No. As long as I have my work, I'm happy. Yes, I can see that. Who's that? I don't know. Hello, lads. Can either of you tell me how far off I am from Knapford? Hello? Oh, sorry. You're taking this lot to Knapford? Yes? Is there a problem? We're just not used to seeing guns of any size, much less such big ones. What are these for? Has war been declared? Not so far as I know. It's just for precautions. That's encouraging. I don't relish the idea neither, but it's best to prepare for the worst so it don't catch you off guard. That's very true. I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name. It's Molly. Nice to meet you, Molly. My name's Edward. And this is James. And in answer to your question, you're about 30-odd miles from Knapford. Just carry along this track and you should get there inside the hour. Is that where I'll find Mr. Starr? I was told to report to him. Yes. So, our director knew this was coming? Strange he didn't tell us. I can't answer that, mate. All I know is my job. No, I understand. Forgive me, I wasn't accusing you. I know. Anyway, I best be off. Nice meeting you two. I'm sure we'll see each other again very soon. What? So that's it, eh, James? You prefer blondes, do you? For your information, Edward, I was staring at the guns. Of course you were. Edward, I'm being serious. Wait, really? Then why was your face frozen like that? Now that I think about it, you look more scared than surprised. What's the matter? None of your business, that's what. Blimey, what brought that on? Drop it, Edward. Bust my boiler. I'll be having words with Mr. Starr about this. Mr. Starr? What's he got to do with this? I said drop it, old iron. Oh, nice. Well, Molly, let me be the first to welcome you to the island of Sodor. Did you have any problems getting here? No, sir. I thought I might have gotten lost at one point, but I managed to find the way thanks to a real nice bloke named Edward. That's the Edward I told you about back on the GER, Molly. You don't say. I can't believe I didn't realise that. Small world. Was James there by any chance? Yes. Why? I'd like to apologise for any abrasive comments he might have made. Actually, he didn't say anything. What? Nothing at all? A few stammers, but that's it. Are we talking about a red engine with golden stripes and the number 5 on his tender? Yeah, that's him. He just stared dumbfounded, almost like he was scared of the guns. I'm not surprised. Excuse me, sir? Nothing. That's enough chit-chat, engines. We have important work to do. Molly, I'm sure you'll need to refuel. You'll find some coal and water around the corner. Once you've topped up, get back here and we can make a start on this lot. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. I'll be right back. Wow.
I know. These are impressive weapons.
I don't think he was referring to the guns, Toby. Guns? See what I mean?
Oh.
What? It's nothing to be embarrassed about, Eric. Molly has that effect on engines. So, other blokes are interested, eh? Oh, don't be discouraged, mate. She's available. Really? You think I have a chance? I do. She's always been interested in friendly chaps, so you might just be her type. Thanks, Winston.
Just try not to overdo it. I concur. Make sure your work comes before all other considerations, Eric. And make sure you don't do anything stupid.
Don't worry, sir. You can count on me.
I hope so.
Are you ready?
Absolutely. Let's go.
Excuse me, Mr. Starr.
Oh, hello, James. How are you?
Good evening, Mrs. Starr. I'm well, thank you. You look very nice.
Thank you. John is taking me out to dinner to a lovely little bistro that just opened up near Carlton.
Oh, well,
I take it you want to talk to me, James?
If I may, sir.
Of course. I won't be long, my dear. I'll wait in the car. I know what you want to say, James.
Sir, with all due respect, how could you not tell me we were getting in such a shipment of weapons? You know my history with them.
Of course I do. But I was ordered to stay silent by the Fact Controller himself.
Does he not know?
This may surprise you, James, but there are greater concerns than yourself. The safety of the nation, for one. At any rate, I did take your well-being into consideration. Why do you think I arranged it so you would be too busy to help the others position those weapons?
Oh.
So you see, I'm not completely heartless. I take it you still haven't told the others about your past?
No, sir. I just can't bring myself to talk about it.
You remember me telling you that I served in the Great War?
Of course, sir. The Gallipoli campaign, right?
Yes. For years after, I wouldn't talk about it with anyone. I was afraid if I did, the horrors would come flooding back. Then one day, I realized that being silent wasn't going to change what had happened.
Did talking about it help?
Not really. But I still think it was better than keeping it to myself. And given the conversation I had with Edward earlier, it'd probably do you well to talk about it.
Are you ordering me to do that, sir?
Of course not. Only you can decide when you're ready. But you might want to decide soon, as we and the middies will be getting in additional shipments over the coming weeks. And I will need your help to organize them. Can you do this, James?
I'll try, sir.
No, I don't want you to try. I want you to do. This job is too important to not have your complete attention. Look me in the eye and answer this question definitively. Can you do this?
Yes, sir. I can.
Very good. I knew I could rely on you, James. Peter's return was warmly welcomed by the middies, who were also slightly intimidated by the train he had brought with him. Now that both companies had received their shipments, Sodor's militarization could begin in earnest. In addition to positioning the railguns and the ammunition they fired, trucks loaded with disassembled weapons of various types were carried about and hastily set up by skilled technicians. Naturally, the sight of so much military hardware on and above Sodor gave many cause for concern. However, It also inspired intense patriotism by an equal number of people. I've always suspected that was intentional, especially given what the second phase of this undertaking was revealed to be. After the initial defences were established, which took about a fortnight to complete, it was announced that a joint Army-Navy base was going to be built near Vickerstown. This project, we and the middies would take part in together, doing so quite harmoniously. I'm pleased to say that throughout both phases of the effort, James had been his usual reliable self. However, he still didn't talk about why he'd had such an acute reaction to the guns. That was until one day during the construction of the base.
You must feel right at home working this close to the water, eh, Frog?
Can you give that a rest for 2 minutes, Diesel?
I could, but I'm not going to. Fancy being silly enough to fall into a canal.
Says the engine who got bumped off the rails by a breakdown train. And who attempted to shunt trucks that were meant to be scrapped.
Grrr! You know what? I don't have time to waste on you two. I've got better things to do.
Like what?
Nothing. Ha ha ha.
Oh, bother! Cracking performance as always, Diesel.
Shut up, sausage. I don't need your spite.
What in fizzling fireboxes is going on here? Diesel, what are you doing playing around with the guns?
I wasn't playing with it. It just derailed while I was shunting it. The gears probably got jammed in the sleepers or something.
Oh, so you just happened to get the dodgy one, is that right? One of these days, Diesel, your mucking about is going to cause a disaster. I wasn't! Never mind. Let's just get this sorted.
Faulty points. You see, James, it wasn't my fault.
You got lucky, Diesel. If that thing had fired when it derailed...
What? It wasn't loaded, you twit. Why would it be?
I don't know, but you can't be too careful. The slightest mistake with these kinds of weapons can spell disaster.
Sounds like you're speaking from experience, James.
I don't want to talk about it, Percy. Well, we do. Excuse me? This has gone on long enough. Clearly, you have some profound issues with regards to these armaments. And we want to know what they are. We, the rest of us, have been talking. We were going to speak to you tonight at the shed. But as the old saying goes, there's no time like the present. Look, I'm sorry I've been acting like a prat lately. It's just, these weapons remind me of a part of my life I'm not eager to revisit. James, whatever the problem, we can help you through it. Please, tell us. All right, I'll tell you. It was back when I was part of the Lancashire and Yorkshire Railway. I worked on its Eastern Division with my partner, Amanda. We were both mixed traffic engines, so we were kept plenty busy. A regular job of ours was to deliver shipments from a munitions factory on our part of the line. One day, we were both assigned to handle a particularly large delivery, which included several gun batteries similar to the ones we've been getting recently. The job was going well enough until I had to shunt a couple of railguns, one of which was primed and loaded. It took only the slightest bump and the thing fired. Next thing I know, I'm waking up in the works a month later. There, my manager told me the factory had been destroyed, 43 people were dead, and Amanda had been scrapped. Bust my buffers! That's horrible!
Too right. Why was the gun loaded?
That was one of the many questions asked by the Royal Commission that was convened to investigate the matter. Turns out it was a miscommunication among the employees.
So it wasn't your fault? It was an accident?
Of course it was, Percy. But let me ask you this. What does that change?
Not much, I suppose.
Exactly. And what makes it worse is that when I said Amanda was my partner... Oh, that's terrible. Now you lads know.
I guess I should be more careful around these things in future.
Probably a good idea. Thank you for telling us, James. You did the right thing. I hope so. Word of James's past soon got around the island, his story rendering those who heard it speechless. The outpouring of support our number 5 received from engines big and small, middies and nor'easters was phenomenal. He very much appreciated it and said as much. I'm pleased to say that the base's construction did not experience any sort of disaster. And on July 4th, 1939, Fort Sudrian was officially opened. Aside from servicing the Royal Navy, the facility also acted as the training centre for a newly formed army regiment, the 51st Vickerstown. Its opening was a great boon for both rail companies, as we now had a new client, one that required regular and hefty shipments of munitions, fuel, and machinery. Once all the work was completed, Geoffrey would leave Sodor, as Peter's return meant he was no longer necessary. He parted on good terms. With most of us, that is. His departure also coincided with the scheduling of Winston's 5-year service. This forced Mr. Starr to extend Molly's stay on Sodor to cover the heavy goods work. This was an arrangement we all found very agreeable, especially Eric. But that is a story for another day.